Welcome to Stop the Noise, where small business specialists cut through the clutter to hone in on practical things small business owners can do to solve business challenges and move their business forward. In today's episode, hosts Better Business for Good co-founder Brenda Thompson and Katie Patterson from Katie Patterson Consulting are talking with recruitment specialist Bobby Semple from Simplified Recruitment Solutions and HR specialist Jessie Warren from HR Gurus about recruitment non-negotiables, what small businesses need to know. Jessie, I might get you to kick off if that's okay. Can you tell us, that we're hearing all the time about this great resignation thing. Can you tell us about the job market at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely, Brenda. I would say, you know how they were saying COVID is unprecedented times. I think that the candidate market, the job market, we're also experiencing unprecedented times. The unemployment rate is at the lowest it's been at since the 70s in Australia, and which is a great thing. But if you're looking for great candidates, it's really dry out there. And we have a saying in HR land that it's a name your price market, because there's so few quality good candidates. It's really hard to fill positions.
Bobby, have you got anything to add to that? Is that all COVID, or are there other factors that you think have contributed to that?
Yeah, there's multiple things that are going on right now in Australia. We don't have the tourists that we used to have. We don't have people coming on working holiday visas. We don't have people coming in from who are Australians who've worked in the UK for 4 years. They're coming back with their new British partner coming. So there's all these people that we're missing out in the country, which really are the foundation of hospitality, places like that are really finding it tough because we don't have the students coming in. We don't have people on working holiday visas where they can work for 6 months at a time, etc. So it really makes the market really dry. And also people have taken this time over the last year, 2 years to reevaluate what life is about. And some people don't want to go and work like they used to go and work. And they're looking for better options. They're looking for new industries. And so there's lots of opportunities out there for not only just candidates, but for also people looking to recruit, to really change the way that they kind of hire people and the kind of people they hire as well.
So that probably leads into the next question I had here is what are companies doing to be more attractive, to actually cut through that and get the employees they want?
Yeah, so what we find as a recruitment business, the clients who offer work remotely, if you can work remotely from anywhere in Australia, then your catchment area is really all of Australia, which is obviously massive. When we compare that to 2-3 years ago, a traditional worker would travel 30 to 40 Ks sometimes to go to work. Well, that catchment area is now 15 Ks. So if you're looking to hire someone, say in Cheltenham in Victoria, well, you're looking 15 Ks away from that office is your catchment area now. People aren't going to travel as far as they wanted to. So if you're really struggling to find people and you're not offering remote work, it's not going to get any easier for you until we see more people come back into the country.
Do you think that will change back, or do you think that's something that we might be facing in the long term with people having different work expectations?
I think once we start to see like working holiday visas coming in, people on sponsorships, etc., they come into the country, we're going to see those guys take up these lower paid kind of roles. But it's also going to push people to go and find something. They've got to go and do something. They've got to go and find a job. So it's not doom and gloom for the employer, because at some point people are going to run out of money and they're going to have to go and get a job. So once that we start to see people come in and take these jobs, and we see less and less jobs being advertised, it's really going to push the people who have been waiting for that ideal job to finally turn around and go, I'm going to have to go and take a job that I didn't really want to have to take because I've been too picky, because I think that the world owes me all this money, the working location that I want, etc. So for the short term, next 6 to 8 months, maybe even a year, we're going to see that. But as soon as we start to see more and more people come into the country, it's going to start to ease those pains, the worrying pains for the hiring company anyway.
So go on, Katie.
Oh, thanks, Brenda. So adding on to that, Bobby and Jess, do you think people overseas would be offered that remote work as well? If we were living in Fiji, example.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it all depends on the industry, and it all depends on whether you have to be working at Australian time. And as long as the outsourced person, whether it's in wherever, Philippines or UK, as long as they're willing to work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, but in Australian time, the UK, that means you're going to work through the night. So there's definitely opportunity, and as long as the business is willing to bring those people in, then really your catchment area is the whole of the world, which
it's
means
global,
which means you've got, you pick of the talent, but it's finding the right employer who's willing to do that. And obviously the position has got to be able to work remotely, and the company's got to have processes and systems in place. And I've spoken to several businesses over the last 2 years who didn't put anything in place to work remotely over that time, which is crazy when you think about it. So they're really kind of stuck now because all their people are leaving because they've had a terrible 2 years, and they can't attract anybody because they're saying you've got to come to the office. So you have to really be within this certain area, which then kind of limits the talent pool.
Yeah. So, Jessie, did you want to add to that about what advice you have for employers who are recruiting in this landscape, just in a general sense, before we get into that checklist?
Yeah, well, I would say that, the last 2 years have been a bit of an experiment for so many workplaces. And one of the beautiful things about it is that it has changed the way that we work, and it's changed a lot of mindsets around flexible work, remote working, and, it's opening people up to amazing opportunities like being, they never thought they would be able to outsource to anywhere. And now they're like, actually, we can do that. So my advice would be, open your mind a little bit more and see if you can't be flexible, where can you be flexible? What can you offer that makes you stand out from, other people recruiting for the same position? What makes you different and special, and what can you offer? If you're a small business, maybe you're able to be a little bit more flexible than some of the bigger players. That might be, what you can offer. So just think outside the box. That would be my advice.
I love that. That makes me think of something that I like when people go, oh, that won't work. Well, instead of saying that won't work, let's look at how could we make that work?
Yeah.
And really being willing to be innovative and think outside the box. Yeah, I love that.
So can I add a question to that, either Jess or Bobby or both of you, is that when you talk about, Bobby, you mentioned the 9 to 5 if they live in the Philippines, an example. Does it really have to be those working hours? Can't that be as flexible as well, given that job role?
I suppose it depends on the employer's client. If the employer's client is 9 to 5 in Australia time, then they're going to have to be the same timeline. If it's like an admin role where there's no time difference because it doesn't matter if you get the report back at 9 o'clock today or 9 o'clock tomorrow, then it doesn't matter. But if you are going to be client facing, making client calls, then you can't be calling at 8, 9 o'clock at night. So you've got to be calling between 9 and 5. So it really just depends on the industry of where that flexibility can come in.
Okay.
So I think that probably, unless Jessie or Katie or Bobby want to add anything up, that probably kind of wraps up the overview. So how about we actually dig into that checklist and go through, I think it's 8 things we've got on the list. So here's 8 specific things that you can do in order to be competitive in this job market. That concludes the first part of today's session. Now it's time to open up the checklists where Bobby and Jessie will walk you step by step through 8 things you can do to attract the right people to your business.